Our next guest, Angela Franco, who is with the DC Chamber of Commerce, who is a advocate for women in business. I am so excited about having her on as our guest right now. Angela, welcome to Let's Talk.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me, Denise. I'm very, very excited and honored to be here. Thank you.
You are, as we celebrate Women's History Month, you are the president and CEO of the DC Chamber. Not the first, but then you do have your first, right? There's a first that you have. Tell us about that for the
Yeah,
chamber.
I'm actually the first Latina,
Right.
that has had the honor of running the DC Chamber of Commerce. I've been in the role for the last 4 years.
That is, I thought so. I didn't want to overlook that because I think we need to celebrate all of our achievements, and so it's been great to see you working as hard as you do for the DC Chamber. And you were you the former president of the Hispanic Chamber as well?
Yes, so I was the former president of the Hispanic Chamber for 7 years, and most of my career has been working with the business community. I've always been passionate about business transactions. I had my own business when I was 11, even before, because I always liked having my own money. I've always been an independent, financially independent since I was a little girl. I don't know if you're born with it or if you learn it, but I always had that desire to be independently financially. And I had my first business when I was 11. I used to sell jewelry,
Yeah.
um, and I still love it. I sold jewelry for many years. I don't do it now because I don't have time. But eventually, I always say that eventually I'll come back to it.
As the president and CEO of the chamber, as well as the Hispanic Chamber, I'm sure that you've been impacted by the number of women that you're seeing now entering into the world of business and entrepreneurship. But I don't know if you have numbers handy, but what does it look like? What does the landscape look like as far as women in business who are members, especially of the chamber?
Yeah, I don't have the statistics handy, but I read about it all the time. And we're growing like 2 times faster than men, and minorities are growing even faster. And in the United States here, there's so many opportunities for minorities and for women in terms of getting certified, having access to opportunities. That is just a great opportunity to be a business owner. I mean, we go through challenges, sometimes difficulties. We are the head of household in many cases. We're the provider in many cases. We have children that we take care of, the house that we take care of. And there's a lot of expectation from women. And that's a lot of the conversations that I have with women business owners. There's so many expectations around everything about around the company or around family with their children, that sometimes you have to be very mindful about keeping that balance to the best of your ability. I mean, Denise, you're a business owner and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's important to keep that balance in terms of saying, okay, there's so much I can do, and I don't have to be perfect by any means.
I think back as my sons are grown now, but when I look back to what my life was like trying to run the Informer and raising two kids in DC, I'm in awe. I don't know how I got through it, but we did, and I'm just curious about how the chamber really supports women-owned businesses, and what you do to encourage women who are trying to keep that balance, but also be successful business owners.
Right. So I'll talk a little bit about my personal involvement as the leader of the organization, and then I'll talk a little bit about the programs and events we have at the chamber to support women-owned business. What I do for me is a passion. I think that when a woman has financial independence and emotional independence, your life is much better in every way. And the way I can support is bringing opportunities that can give them financial independence. So I'm always working with a business owner, helping with a business plan, helping with that connection, directing them into opportunities they have to get certified, and really educating. Sometimes is that access to information or that lack of knowledge that sometimes we have that stops us from getting to the next step. So I want to make sure that whatever I can do to close that gap, I do. With the chamber, we created a women's soup group, and we get together every 3 months. We have a women's luncheon every year. I'll let you know when this one is. We're setting up the date now, but it's in June. We always bring a great speaker from the business world that can bring additional information, and we have 2 or 3 educational events geared towards information for women entrepreneurs, like certification with corporate America, certification with the local government, with the federal government. Procurement is a big deal for me, and I think it's a great opportunity for women-owned businesses. And always looking into what's available. I read a lot. I talk to a lot of people, and I am very intentional about bringing that information to our women-owned businesses.
I mean, it sounds like there's value in being a member of the chamber. I'm doing a commercial for you and saying folks need to
Of
join.
course, of course. I
But
say yes. I say yes.
yeah,
Always.
but go ahead and say why and say why.
You know, a chamber, the way I'm very passionate about chambers of commerce, because chambers are organizations that are there to be of service to businesses. I don't see it any other way. What you have in a chamber of commerce is a platform for a business to succeed. And the way the DC Chamber of Commerce does it is, one, representing the interest of the small business community with government. That means policy. And the second part is through networking and events that can help them connect, get educated, get informed. So for me, it has a lot of value to belong to a chamber, and it's important that you get involved. You can attend one event, and that's a networking event. But if you really want to get involved and get to know the community and get to know your business, I mean, it's a support group for us as business owners, right? Because we all have to connect and be with the people that are going to make us great, and people that understand the struggles that we go through. And a chamber of commerce has that platform. It's a platform where you find people that go through the same things you do, so you can have those kind of conversations that are kind of the same level, the struggles you go through, challenges you have that may be not a challenge for another business, and that exchange of information can be very valuable and can come in the perfect time at the perfect moment. But if you don't take the time to be there, get involved, then maybe you miss the opportunity. I always say that whomever doesn't join the chamber is missing the opportunity.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. That makes sense. And let me ask another thing, because, we are all, since COVID, we know the impact that COVID had on our downtown area, the loss of businesses and what have you. But we all are trying to make that big comeback. We're trying to, get more businesses operating in our city core. We don't need to lose them. But what do you think the role women-owned businesses will have or has in revitalizing the city and keeping it, at the level where I think our mayor and so many of our elected officials would want to see it be? I mean, what do women do to women-owned businesses do to kind of keep the economy going?
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I'm a firm believer that women are going to end up leading in many fronts, not because, women. No, I just think that we have a unique sensitivity and that deep care about our communities. And if we want to see a change, we are intentional about it. If you want to have your child, you do it, you get it done, you're intentional, you put your heart into it. Here, now that we have a great city that has given us so much, we cannot leave her alone. We all have to be intentional about being in the office, referring businesses, working with the mayor, working with the Office of Economic Development, working with other businesses, and seeing how we can get involved. But what is for sure in my mind and in my heart is that we all are part of the solution. When you start saying, oh, is there a problem to solve? I disagree. I think we all have to take ownership and be part of the solution from the place we can. There's some people that are leading the initiative, but we all can get involved somehow. And that's what we have to strive for, to be intentional about making that difference. In our case, we're back in the office. We are participating. We're doing most of our events downtown. And we are being intentional about participating and attending and being part of the conversation.
That's fantastic. And the last thing I want to ask you, Angela, is just, it's a legislative issue. I mean, are there any bills that the chamber is working on right now that will specifically assist women-owned businesses?
Specifically on a local level, that will well, I mean, yes, indirectly, because they help like all kind of
All
businesses.
businesses, right?
So,
Okay.
however, there's a bill on a national level that is affecting minorities and contracts for minorities, and I'm not 100% involved. But what I can say, Denise, is that there's a lot of intentionality in terms of giving opportunities to minority-owned businesses. In DC, we have many corporations. We have the local government, we have the federal government, we have the embassies, and there has been, that I'm sure you have heard, a lot of this conversation about giving opportunities to minority-owned businesses, procurement that everybody hears talk about, certification that everybody hears talk about. Those are real opportunities for women. There's a great certification that is called WeBank, and is a certification for women-owned business to have opportunities with corporate America. And that's a specific to women-owned businesses. And I believe is, except one for the Small Business Administration, is one of the only ones that is targeting specifically women-owned business. And we have to really take advantage of that, because when you look at the spending, the minority is being done in Black and Latinas. So we just have to make sure that we spread the word, that we, that we educate ourselves, and the most important, that we support each other. There's business for everybody. There's opportunities for everybody, and it is not worth not to support each other. It's better to elevate each other and to share those opportunities and possibilities with other women-owned businesses.
Great pitch. And I think my last question to you is just to tell folks, how can they become a member of the DC Chamber?
So you can go to the website, that is www.dcchamber.org. The DC Chamber is the only the organization that serves the small business community in the District of Columbia. And if you would see, I mean, I've had the opportunity to be on national boards with chambers of commerce across the United States. I work also with the U.S. Chamber. We work with many local and national organizations, and really the impact that the DC Chamber has is so unique, because we are in the best city in the United States. We have access to a lot of resources just for being in the District of Columbia. And I really would encourage you, if you don't want to become a member yet, please attend the events, because we are here to serve you. We exist because our business community exists, and that's what we're here for.
Wonderful. Angela, thank you. Angela Franco, President and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so very much for being with us today. Looking forward to hearing so much more about what the Chamber is doing. So, you can always give us a call and say, look, I've got something for you. Please call, because we want to make sure that we share this information with our viewers and business owners that are just launching every single day. So thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I was very, very happy to participate. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise. See you soon.